good afternoon to all the participants. My name is Julian Abril. I am the head of facilitation in the International Maritime Organization. I am, in fact, working in the Maritime Safety Division. And I want to express my appreciation to the organization and organizers for inviting me to participate in this event. The subject I want to share with you today is on the cooperation and interoperability for effective trade facilitation through maritime digitalization on data exchange. You can see in this slide the summary of my presentation. First of all, I would give you an introduction of what is IMO, what is the International Maritime Organization. Later on, I will speak about the electronic data exchange and single window imports. The third subject would be data standards for efficient electronic data exchange. And finally, I'm going to speak about something about the technical assistance provided by the International Maritime Organization, in particular, the IMO single window project for small island developing states. The International Maritime Organization, this is a specialized United Nations agency. This is the only organization in the United Nations with the expertise on the maritime transport. The headquarters is in the United Kingdom since 1958. This organization is, if you compare with other United Nations organizations, is a small one because we are not more than 300 staff. And is a centralized organization because the secretariat is mainly most of the secretariat is in London, but we have 5 regional offices. One in Côte d'Ivoire for the Francophone Africa, one for Ghana for Anglophone Africa, is in the east part, and in Kenya we have also one for East and South Africa. We have also one regional office in the Philippines, and we have also one regional office in Trinidad and Tobago. The main responsibility of these regional offices is the link between the member states of the respective regions with the central office in IMO, where when we speak about technical cooperation, support, and the needs of the member states of these regions on the technical cooperation. The number of member states in IMO is 174 member states and plus another 3 associate members. It is also relevant to mention that we have a big number, significant number of observer organizations, more than 140 organizations. We can distinguish international governmental organizations, but also non-governmental organizations. Their participation of the NGOs is very relevant because they contribute with their expertise and their respective interests in the discussions in IMO. We work in 6 official languages. Is Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. And we have 3 working languages: English, French, and Spanish. The annual budget is really is not high. It's around 30 million each year, and is mainly provided by member states depending on the size of their fleets. The bigger the fleets, the more money they pay. If you compare with the way that other UN organization works, is different because it depends on the richness of the countries. In the case of the IMO, depends on the size of the fleets. This means that the main contributors are in the top 10. 5 of them are developing countries, and like Panama or the Marshall Islands are big, one of the bigger donors of to the budget. And now I would like to give you some information on what is the FAL Convention. The FAL Convention is the instrument of IMO relating to the facilitation of the maritime transport in the international environment. It was adopted in 1965, entered into force in 1967. This was one of the first conventions adopted in IMO due to the interest to harmonize documents and procedures in the entrance of ships in the ports. Currently, the number of contracting governments is 124, and the world tonnage is more than 95% of the world's fleet. This means that the FAL Convention is well recognized among all most of the world as the instrument for the harmonization of procedures and standards. We still have 52 members, IMO member states that are not yet part of the FAL Convention. I would like also to mention that this convention does not apply to the warships or pleasure yachts, and it applies to all ships engaged in international voyages. The structure is 16 articles and an annex with 7 chapters, and in the chapters there are many instruments, standards, and recommended practice. Now, I would like to speak to you about the electronic data exchange and maritime single window imports. The FAL Convention established that there is information exchange. Traditionally, this has been done through papers, what is called as FAL forms, and they are FAL forms related to the ship, crew, and cargo information. One of the main assets of the FAL Convention was to define and identify the documents, the FAL forms requested by the public authorities. Before the FAL Convention, there were many FAL forms or documents requested by the national authorities, but with the FAL Convention, it was identified 7 FAL forms, plus other forms requested by, for example, by the health authorities. In the last 2 years, there was an approval of an important amendment to the FAL Convention. That was the request of mandatory systems of electronic data exchange in ports. This is compulsory in all the ports since April 2019. Therefore, since the last year, all the exchange of information between ship and ports and the authorities should be in electronic format. At this moment, the single window is in the FAL Convention is still a recommendation. It's not compulsory. However, during the discussions in the review of the FAL Convention, it was approved that in future the single window will be mandatory. It is expected that this will be mandatory from 2023 or maybe 2024. All depends on when the FAL Convention will finalize and it will be adopted the new amendments. Regarding the implementation of electronic data exchange, how is the situation currently in the countries? We have information provided by member states, but I would like to mention the information provided by IAPH that about 49 countries have currently port community systems in the 174 IMO member states. And The situation is that there are different single windows in the countries called customs single window, shipping industry, or maritime single window. What is relevant is the interoperability among the different, the various systems. I would like to inform you, give you some information about the data standards for efficient data exchange and the work that is currently made by the IMO and in particular the FAL committee. The IMO Compendium on Facilitation and Electronic Business, you have on the screen one link, a hyperlink, where you can see the electronic publication of the IMO Compendium. This compendium is published, is reviewed every year by the IMO committee, by the FAL committee, and it is released in paper, but also is available for anyone in this link. The IMO Compendium on Facilitation and Electronic Business contains a number of data sets covered by IMO instruments, and the IMO reference data model. And I would like to say that this IMO Compendium was completed last year, a first phase with the data sets related to the IMO Convention. I mean, those exchange of information that is obligatory according with the FAL Convention. But the FAL committee agreed to go beyond and to include other data sets on aspects related to the ports, to the stowaways. I will give you some more information later. Behind the data sets is the reference data model, and this is important because the aim of the IMO Compendium is really not to establish a IMO standard. Instead of IMO standard, what we do is to bring on board different standard organizations to harmonize the different standards in a way that there is interoperability between the different standards. Therefore, I want that you have the idea, that a clear picture that the IMO Compendium or the work of IMO is not to develop standards, but to guarantee or to seek for interoperability between the different standards. In fact, this IMO Compendium has been the outcome of the cooperation between three major standard organizations, that is the World Customs Organizations, UNEC, and ISO. The three of them with the IMO have been working to in the development of this IMO Compendium, and we have agreed a partnership to for the maintenance and update of the IMO Compendium. The discussions are held in the IMO committee. The working details is made by an expert group in IMO. It was established in 2019. And in this group, there is collaboration between the international organizations, the owners of the standards, the industry, and the member states. The idea is in this expert group is to harmonize and create the data standards. The IMO expert group meets twice a year and prepares the amendments to the IMO Compendium. The IMO committee received the proposals made by the expert group, and after considering in a working group during the committee, at the end of the day, at the end of the meeting, approves a new version of the IMO Compendium. You can see on the slide the priority list of data sets that we are currently working in the committee. You can see on the left the Maritime Declaration of Health. We are working in a data set on port logistic operational data related to just-in-time concept. The data set on stowaways, acknowledgement received. The next slide is smaller, but there is the other data sets that we are working to be included in the IMO Compendium. If I can go to that one that is a bigger picture, you can see a brief description of the data set, the priority on the work for the IMO committee, and also some details. And currently, we have completed the data set of the Maritime Health Declaration and the just-in-time concept. And we are working currently on the rest of the data sets. Before I give you more information on the technical assistance, I want to, one of my ambition today with this presentation is that you have the clear idea of the importance of the IMO Compendium. And we are aware that there are standards going on by organizations, by companies, but I would like to ask you that to don't forget of the of IMO. I mean, the idea of the participation of IMO would not be to steal or jump in the standard. But if these standards are brought through NGOs or through the member states and are discussed in the expert group first, later on approved by the IMO committee, this would guarantee, give you the additional value that is approved by is included in the IMO Compendium, and therefore it would be recognized universally. Therefore, this is important. This is the relevance. And there would be later in this work a mapping between these standards and the other standards in order that we with this work, we would provide the added value of interoperability and harmonization between the different standards. Therefore, this is the importance of the work that we are doing in IMO and in the particular in the IMO, in the FAL committee. Finally, I would like to give you some information on the technical assistance that we provide by IMO. You know, IMO is mainly an organization where we discuss standards, guidelines, guidance, etc. And it's a challenge for member states to implement all this high number of instruments in their national legislation. One of the objectives of IMO is to help member states to implement all these number of IMO instruments in the national legislation. And we do that one through technical cooperation. Currently, IMO is providing technical assistance to support countries to implement electronic data exchange and single window. We made in last year, we finalized a successful project in Antigua and Barbuda, a maritime single window project that was promoted by Norway, and based on the Norwegian single window, Norway have developed a special maritime single window project that is a very simple one to comply with the requirements of the FAL Convention, and this has been implemented very successfully in Antigua and Barbuda. The package is in open source, therefore any member states can download the codes and they can implement. And but we are still working looking for search for funds in order that we can replicate this successful project in other countries. Take into account that this simple system is in particular useful for small island developing states. because it's for this type of ports and this type of traffic. We are in contact with member states looking for funds, and also with banks like the World Bank, and we are working with a new department in IMO that is on projects and partnership, trying to develop and to implement these projects. Also, we provide the member states can use the guidelines developed by IMO to set up a maritime single window. And with that one, I have completed my presentation, and I'm happy to to participate in the question and answer session and try to solve your questions. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Julian. I'm now going to hand over to Julian live, in fact. So Julian, if you're there, you could, there we go. Wonderful. Hi, Julian. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you. Good afternoon, Kathy. Good to see you.
Good. And for the eagle-eyed among you, because we may as well be up front. Yes, of course, we did record that presentation in advance, given my technical inefficiencies. That was probably quite a sensible idea. So if you've got any questions for Julian, please do pop them in the chat. There is one in there already for you, Julian. So I'll ask it. It's from Jesper Sebelin. And he's asked, how does IMO coordinate single window reporting with the EU, given the fact that we in EU have a reporting form directive and are working towards implementation of the regulation of the European Maritime Single Window environment by 2025?
Okay, thank you for the question. And you know, what we are discussing in IMO is mainly universal measures, a universal single window. Therefore, we developed the guidelines on single window, the activity in Antigua and Barbuda that I explained in the presentation, but in particular with the European, what we are working together with the Europe, in particular with the European Commission and with EMSA experts, and also some experts from member states like Norway or Sweden, is in the building of the IMO Compendium. The work that we are doing to harmonize the interoperability of the data sets. Therefore, they are working actively, and they are participating both in the expert group as well as in the smaller group that is a modeling group, where we review and we refine the data sets, the data elements, the length of the message, and so on, that it will be later on approved by the FAL committee and included in the IMO Compendium. Therefore, the additional value with Europe is their contribution, and they are using the IMO Compendium as the basis for the development of European maritime single window. I hope this clarified the question.
I think so. I guess one other question this is actually from our side here at Smart Maritime Network, and Julian, you and I we touched on this when we were speaking the other day. How do you go about promoting standards in technology? Do you think it's a private market issue, or do you think regulators have a role?
I think that at the end, standards, on my view, is that standards is private, is something that is companies are doing for competitiveness and for increasing efficiency. But please don't forget that later on we need, we have a role to do from IMO or other institutions in order to promote the coordination, harmonization, and interoperability of the different standards. Otherwise, you can have a fantastic standard, but if you want to have more universal use, the place to bring these standards is IMO, and is to be included in the IMO Compendium. This would guarantee you, or this have offered you the opportunity that it can be used for more people around the world.
Okay, thank you. There's a comment in here which is from Richard Morton, who I'm sure you know from IPCSA. His comment is the EU should be coordinating with the IMO for global acceptance and not just focus on regional. And the data elements in the IMO Compendium should be accepted by the EU EMSWE. I don't know if that's the correct way to say that, but do you have any comments for Richard on that?
I think that I agree with Richard, and this is along the lines of really European is regional. We have other regional or national approaches. But if you use the IMO Compendium as the basic one, this is not really a standard, but it's a system that guarantees you harmonization. You can use that one, and this would guarantee you that the different standards really works well between them, the WCO, the UNEC, or ISO 1.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Julian, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much and really appreciate you joining us, and thank you for hopping in and joining us for the Q&A at the end there. I'm sure you'll be sticking around for a bit, so if anyone has any more questions for Richard, sorry, for Julian, not just you, Richard. Oh, there's one just popped up from Mike. We've got a couple of minutes. So Mike Powell, who should be getting ready for the next session now, but we'll give him a bye. We talk a lot about digital acceleration. The IMO can look slow to respond to a rapidly changing landscape and stakeholder demands. Do you think that the IMO can improve on that? Maybe even just the image.
Yes, thank you for that one. And really, what we have already prepared is a project on how to promote the digitalization. Therefore, we are working on that one. We are circulating internally, and also as we expect to share with other stakeholders, and in particular with donor banks like the World Bank, in order that we hope that we can push and we can promote accelerating the digitalization. This is our aim, and we are working on that one already.
Great. One more question in here before we say goodbye. So from Jens Poulsen, who asks, the JIT data standard, does it support does it support commodity carrying vessel operations as well as container vessels?
Can you repeat me again the question? Sorry.
The JIT data standard, does it support commodity carrying vessel operations as well as container vessels?
I suppose he's referring to the just-in-time concept. Yeah, just-in-time. The just-in-time is it was developed initially, in particular for containers, the concept, but the idea that it can be used for other ships. Any ship. I mean, the just-in-time concept behind is that to provide and keep updated information of date and time arrival between ship and port, in order that it can be efficiently go to the berth and not waiting outside in the anchorage. And this is the idea behind of the just-in-time. Therefore, initially it was developed for containers, because this is what is behind GIA, but really this can be used for any kind of ships.
Okay, thank you. And in fact, Jens, you might find some further information and answers to that in the session that's coming up at 4 o'clock CET, that Mike Powell and others, including Richard Morton and Jaco and so on, are going to be on. With that, I'm going to say, Julian, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you. Obviously, offline, I'll be talking to you a bit more, because I think hopefully there's a bit more work that the Smart Maritime Network and the IMO can be doing together as well. So I'd be interested to discuss that with you a bit further. So thanks very much, Julian. I'm going to let you go. Nice to see you. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Kathy, and congratulations for the event.
Thank you.
Very successful one. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.